Today's video is going to be a snow tutorial in Gnomes in the Neighborhood by Denise Klett, and I'm going to show you how to color in snow anywhere on the page as well as snowmen. So for this tutorial I'm going to be using Prismacolor pencils, and I have a variety of purples, blues, a yellow, and I'm going to blend everything in with Prismacolor white. You may be wondering, why am I using purples and pinks as well as blues when it comes to coloring in snow? Well, snow is not actually a pure white. In fact, there is no pure white. When we look at things around us, they tend to have grays or blues and shadows, or the white objects we see are reflecting different colors off them. So snow will reflect the sunlight, which would be yellow. It will pick up different shadows. It might be dirty snow, in which case it will have some browns or browny grays. So we need to use a variety of cold colors to capture that 3D effect in our colorings. So I'm going to show you how I incorporate all of these and then how I blend it out. Now, depending on where you're going to have your light source and what objects are hanging over your snow, for instance, like in these trees, you have bits of the tree hanging over the snow areas, in which case that's going to have a bit more of a shadow. But you would have the tip over here, it would get a bit more sunlight. So I'm coloring this page with the light source coming from the left hand side. So if I take my yellow, I'm going to have, bring you in, I'm going to have a highlight along here, and I'll have a highlight here on the tip, maybe a bit in here. So I'm just blocking in some of those highlights. Okay, so next I'm going to use my blue violet lake, and I'm going to start casting some of those shadows. Now I need to be very careful with blue and yellow. I don't want them too close to each other, because if they are, I'm going to end up with a gross green, and I don't want my snow green. Okay, so now if I take a bit of pink, this is Deco Pink, and I can put this next to my blue because that will convert it into purple, and pink and yellow blend a little bit better than your blue and yellow. It's not going to give us a green look. Okay. And we will knock everything back with a white pencil to blend it all out. So in some ways, it's like approaching it the way you would with people when you're coloring in portraits. you put in your shadows, you highlight your highlights, you build up your layers, and then you blend it all out with a white pencil or a lighter color. So a lot of the coloring we do has very similar principles to it. Okay, so now I might want to deepen my shadows. I'll use a slate gray. The more defined your shadows and your highlights are, the less flat your picture will be. Okay, now I might decide that I need a bit of a darker purple, in which case I'm just going to use some lilac, and I'm going to go over some of that blue I've put down. Now you don't have to use purples, you can just use slate grey, blue violet lake or blue slate, and maybe some cool greys, and that will give you also a great look. I personally like the vibrance I get from using purples and blues together. So it's just my coloring style really coming out, but you've got the same principles. Okay, now I'm going back over with blue violet lake. If you want a lighter blue, some of your powder blues or your cloud blues would also work well. So in there I want this tip a bit darker. Okay, over here, this isn't going to catch too much light. To bring in a bit of the lilac and some of that slate grey. Now if I have a 70% cool grey, I can even define this further, but I might use an even darker grey at the end. So I build up my colors. I wait until the end to decide if I need to deepen my shadows. And I do that because I want to get a feel of how everything blends out, and if the page doesn't need anything more, then I leave it. But generally, if you think you're done, just do 1 or 2 more layers, and it just helps get that picture to pop. Okay, and I'm going back into that blue violet lake because I want this a bit more, and a bit more of that lilac in here. And the same thing here. And I might want a bit of yellow here because, as I said, the sunlight is coming off on the left hand side. Okay, so now I'm going to take my white pencil and I'm going to blend this out, starting in the white yellow areas and going in. So starting from lightest to dark, and I blend them all into each other using circular motions. If you don't like Prismacolors, you can use polychromos, any other pencil that you enjoy. The principle is the same sort of colors, and you will still get vibrant snow. And you don't even have to go into your darkest shadows to do this. You just want to blend a smooth texture because snow is quite soft and smooth. So you want to try and give that smooth feel to it. And like with skin, once you've blended it out with the white, you can go back in and just deepen your shadows. Now I'm planning on doing a bit of a sunrise or sunset background, so having the pinks and the yellows will work really well because the snow will be reflecting some of those hues. So here I'll come in with my 70% cool gray, and I'm just going to deepen up some of these shadows. Back in with my blue violet lake. And I'm just blending out that gray. Okay, and there you have it. That's how to color snow in treetops.